Airbus has denied reports that there are problems with the fuselage of the A380, its flagship aircraft. The company called the reports unfounded and said that the A380 has a very good safety record. Is it true that the Airbus A380 has a very good safety record? Or is there no problem with the fuselage? Let us unfold the truth. On July 1, 2022, the Emirates A380 landed with a hole blown into the side of the fuselage. An insider claimed damage amid flight takeoff. This event happened on Emirates flight EK430 from Dubai to Brisbane on Friday, July 1, 2022. The 7,442-mile journey was flown by an Airbus A380 with the registration code A6EVK, which was roughly 3 years old. The plane took off from runway 30L at Dubai Airport, and the 13-hour, 34-minute journey was mostly uneventful, as far as we know. The plane originally climbed to 31,000 feet, then climbed to 39,000 feet as additional fuel was switched off. The plane's passengers heard a huge blast while flying over the ocean not long after departure. The crew, however, chose to continue flying and arrived in Brisbane 13 and a half hours later. According to the Aviation Herald, as the plane approached the Queensland airport, the crew contacted air traffic control to request that emergency services be sent because they feared they had blown a tire on takeoff from Dubai. The jet touched down on Brisbane Airport's runway 19R and was towed to the apron. It was then determined that there was a massive hole in the fuselage's left side, right beneath the passenger windows and after the wing. Seriously, that is a big hole, for scale compared to the size of the passenger windows. The return flight to Dubai was cancelled, as expected, and the plane is currently on the ground in Brisbane and will presumably be there for some time. Fortunately, no one was hurt, and until they were safely on the ground, passengers, and possibly even the crew, had no idea what the plane looked like from the outside. What was the damage? Although the aircraft landed safely, ground rescue workers were taken aback when they discovered a big hole in the fairing on the plane's left side. The fairing is used for aerodynamic purposes, creating a clean contour and lowering drag. When the nose gear was inspected, a detached bolt was discovered, but it is unclear whether the two accidents are related. Because of the damage, the plane was unable to take off for its return voyage and remained on the ground in Brisbane for 17 hours after landing. A passenger told the Courier Mail he heard the loud blast shortly after the plane took off. There was a loud bang, and I felt it all the way through the floor. The cabin staff remained cool, halted the distribution of food, and called in to check the wings and engines. According to an Emirates representative, the EK430 flight from Dubai to Brisbane encountered a technical fault. During the cruise, one of the aircraft's 22 tires ruptured, causing damage to a small portion of the aerodynamic fairing, which is an outer panel or the skin of the aircraft, he explained. It had no effect on the aircraft's fuselage, frame, or structure at any stage. The plane landed safely in Brisbane and all passengers exited on time. But why does the company claim the Airbus A380 has such a good safety record? Commercially, the Airbus A380 has not been as successful as the European manufacturer had intended. The airline industry continues to move away from the high-capacity, hub-to-hub paradigm demanded by the Super Jumbo. However, one area where the A380 has excelled is in safety. The A380's remarkable safety record is due in part to the type's lack of commercial success, with Airbus only producing roughly 250 units. This is barely a fraction of the number of units sold by some of the industry's most popular families, like the Boeing 737, which has sold over 10,000 units. In turn, the 737 series has been involved in considerably more accidents over the years. A fatal or hull loss catastrophe involving the A380, on the other hand, would have a significantly higher impact on its overall safety record. This is due to the fact that it would represent a substantially larger proportion of the total A380 contingent lost due to accidents. Concorde is possibly the best example of this. Indeed, the famed supersonic airliner suffered only one tragic hull loss, but it wiped out 1/4 of the fleet. Another factor is the variety of routes served by the A380. It is intended for high-capacity, long-distance, hub-to-hub traffic. This means that it will only perform 1 or 2 flights per day on average. Accidents most commonly occur during takeoffs and landings. Because of this service pattern, an A380 encounters significantly fewer of them than, say, a short-haul workhorse like a Boeing 737 or A320 that operates 6 to 8 daily sectors. Nonetheless, the Super Jumbo has experienced several less-than-ideal flights. The only 2 significant A380 incidents have both been uncontained engine failures. The first occurred in November 2010 when a Qantas A380 destined for Sydney experienced engine problems after departure from Singapore. Most recently, in September 2017, an uncontained engine failure on a Los Angeles-bound Air France A380 just southeast of Greenland. The A380 is a model of modern aviation reliability, with only 2 serious accidents in nearly 15 years of commercial service and no fatalities or hull loss accidents to its name. While we have shown that this is due primarily to the manner in which it operates and the tiny quantity generated, it is nevertheless an amazing record that represents the industry's first priority: safety. It was the major message Airbus management sought to convey following the last shocking revelation that manufacture of the massive A380 Super Jumbo would cease. The plane would continue to fly for decades. However, as the A380s sit on a lonely airstrip in southern France, it is evident that the problems with the deadly jets go much deeper than has been suggested. Google Maps aerial images reveal at least 3 A380s seeking a new home at the airfield storage facility. It also serves as a plane graveyard, where airplanes that are no longer useful are stripped of their parts. Just halfway through their intended lives, 2 A380s in storage have begun the painstaking process of being broken down for spares. What is the critical issue? For many airlines, the jets are too large to make a profit on even the busiest routes, and few companies want to buy used models that may cost a matzah to run. Not only is the plane expensive to buy, but it is also expensive to operate. In addition to requiring airport modifications for its massive passenger load and million-pound bulk, economics demands that it be flown full to cover its enormous hourly costs, Forbes columnist Michael Goldstein stated in 2018. Airbus Chief Executive Officer Tom Enders confirmed long-held rumors that the A380's days were numbered. After completing the final 14 jets for its largest customer, Emirates, production at the Toulouse facility in southwest France will finish in 2021. Mr. Enders, on the other hand, was quick to point out that because hundreds of A380s had been produced and the planes had an operational life of more than 20 years, they would remain a familiar sight. Remember that A380s will continue to fly for many years to come, and Airbus will, of course, continue to fully support A380 operators, Mr. Enders stated. Nonetheless, despite the optimism, some A380s have already been retired. On the other hand, Mr. Goldstein pointed out that Qantas was recently named the world's least fuel-efficient airline, owing to the huge distance traveled by many of its flights and the fact that it flies the A380 and 747 gas guzzlers. Qantas is replacing its Boeing 747 aircraft with more efficient 787-9s. Can Qantas A380 replacements be far behind? He asked. Qantas has stated that this will not be the case, that while it had canceled an order for 8 more A380s, it anticipated continuing to operate the ones it already had for some time. Qantas has 12 A380s that fly to Los Angeles, Dallas, Singapore, and London. The fleet will be refurbished beginning in mid-2019, according to a spokesman. Ultimately, Airbus has disputed rumors that the A380's fuselage is malfunctioning. However, the claims have prompted questions about the aircraft's safety. Airbus may be required to do more to reassure passengers and airlines. If Airbus does not solve the worries regarding the A380's fuselage issues, the aircraft's reputation would suffer, leading to cancellations and delays.